Alright, this is the bench press, or some people call it the barbell bench press because you're doing a bench press with the barbell. Alright, a couple different things you want to look for. Now when you're pressing this, some people will put the bar higher up on their hand, about right here. In reality, it's putting a lot of pressure on your wrist. So the first thing you look for is actually gripping the bar right here. So when you're gripping the bar, some people will grab it like this. See how it bends the wrist back? The first thing you want to look for is have it right here, because if you have the bar right here, it's supported by your forearm. So just imagine punching it, it's going to support it, versus if you try to punch it like this. I'm not going to show you that. You go ahead and punch it and see how well. So that's what happens when you get heavier weight. Alright, the second thing you look for is your shoulders. What do you mean by your shoulders? Alright, the thing what you look for is make sure you keep your shoulders back, open the chest. See how when you crunch forward, looks like my chest is small? Well, if you keep them back, you open your chest, and it actually decreases the distance you have to go underneath the bar. I'm going to show you that right now. So this is the second thing. Now what I mean by that is you want to keep your shoulder blades back. So when you do this, is if I don't, say, most people, this is how they bench press. They'll get underneath here and they're just like this. Alright, see how that rhythm? Now a couple mistakes. So I'm pushing it out. See how my shoulder comes off it? That's going to cause shoulder problems. And when you do that, you're actually taking the emphasis off your chest. So what happens if you bring your shoulder blade back? Now look at the distance when an average person bench presses. Looking at the pin, how high this is. When I press it up, when I'm talking about pushing it all the way up, I was about this height. Now from this angle, I'll show you. So an average bench presser, when they push it up, see the distance? So now when I bench press, I'll come from all the way down, all the way up. So the distance we're going is about this much. Now if you just keep your shoulder blades back, when you take the bar off, you take out the shoulders and it's just in chest. So now, this is my lockout. See the difference? When I pop out my shoulders, that shoulder's popped out. Shoulder problems. That's chest. Big difference. Alright, so you got the grip and off the shoulders. Now another thing is you want to arch your back some. Some people say, oh, arching the back is going to cause you problems. Actually, when your spine is naturally curved, so if you try to keep your spine actually straight, it's going to cause you problems. So, what's another benefit of lifting up your chest? So if you keep your chest flat down, that's more distance you have to go. Versus if you raise it up, you're raising up about 2 to 3 inches. So now, you're lifting up your chest about 2 to 3 inches, and you're taking off about 6 inches. So this is actually a bench press, right there. So if you do those techniques, you're going from a movement this big to a movement about this. And that's a legal movement as long as your butt and your feet stay on the floor. Technically, it's a powerlifting. Alright, a couple things to look for. Okay, the difference between a professional bench presser versus an amateur is the mindset that they think. An amateur focuses on pushing the weight up. Now, professional focus on pushing themselves away from the bar. It contracts more muscles, and that's just a mindset, and it feels totally different. I know it sounds crazy, but it is. Another tip, you grip the bar extremely tight. A little bit more on what about the grips? How wide to go, how close to go? Now, if you're just getting involved, just do what I call a high school grip, unless you're trained specifically. Now, this is a high school grip, as you call it. It's where the smooth versus the rough. It's just a measurement of keeping your thumbs. This is where I'm naturally strong because it's like a natural punching position. Alright, the difference between if you bring your elbows in, you're going to bring a lot of triceps into play. If you keep your elbows out, you're going to bring in your chest more. A power lifter keeps it at a 45 degrees angle. So they're benching like this. This is triceps if you duck it in. This is chest. Powerlifter's right there. 45. Because you're recruiting some of your tricep. Alright, now going to a close grip versus a regular grip to a wide grip. What's the difference? Professional powerlifters do extremely wide grip because it decreases the distance that they have to go. So, if I'm doing a close grip bench press, zone triceps, and I push it all the way up, naturally you're higher. But if you do a wider one, you naturally got shorter arms. So you're like this. Less distance you go. So Nick, how do you put it all together? Alright, you put everything in your mind. Your grip, your arch, your techniques, your form, your elbows, everything. So let's just go through the motion. You want to have a big arch, keep the shoulder blades back. Kind of plant yourself, your traps in here. You put all the pressure on your traps. You grip it extremely wide. Keep it at 45 in between the 90. You need somebody to give you a lift off because you can barely lift off yourself. Pick it up. And a powerlifter only mentions about and that's a professional powerlifter. They're trained to only bench press about this much versus an average bencher that bench presses this much. Because a true technique is you try to take as much distance away from the bench press as possible, so only pressing it about that much. So you can push up 600-700 pounds, 800, and then strap on a bunch of gear and stuff with your wraps, your bench suits, your squat suits, the whole works. And that's a bench press.